Hello, friends. Good morning. Hope you are all well. As we draw towards the end of the lockdown 3, and I hope that you are all getting back to your normal activities. We look forward to meeting you. Therefore, it has been a recent um, set of guidelines issued by the university. As per that, we would be having a combined midterm and end term for this CBCS course, as we have not been able to conduct the midterm due to the sudden lockdown. So we would have a combined 80 marks interim examination for you guys, and the details of the guidelines should be available to us soon. And you have recently submitted a 15 marks assignment, so that has to be augmented to 20 marks assignment, so it will be 25, 25, 20 for the internal assessment, and 80 would be the final marks that would come in that combined test. Now these are about some of the recent developments that has happened. I am going to talk today. I believe I am making this video after quite some time. I hope you have gone through the testing of hypothesis presentations and the student T distributions, which I have introduced from Wikipedia. I have meanwhile prepared a write up which I am yet to send you, and I hope to send you by this weekend. And meanwhile, I have also gone through all the assignments for the 15 marks. That marks will, I believe, you have received the feedbacks as well. Now today I'm making this video after quite some time to talk about an important theorem in probability and statistics, namely the central limit theorem. The central limit theorem is a result related to the averages. Just like law of large number was one such result. So if we quickly remember what was the law of large number telling us, that if you have IID random variables or identically distributed random variables satisfying certain conditions like stationarity and all that, and you take their averages, so x1 plus x2 plus xn by n, and if you increase the number of such random variables n tends to infinity, then that average converges in some sense. I said converges in probability to the expected value, common expected value, expectation of x1. And now you can ask that okay, something converges to something. So suppose a sequence little xn converges to 0, then you can definitely ask that what is the rate at which it is going to 0. Is it going to 0 at the rate of 1 by n, or 1 by n square, or e to the power minus n, or 1 by log n? So all of these sequences are going to 0, but at different rates. And that is, as I increase them, they become smaller and smaller, but at different rates. So the if you recall, the central law of large number was a result that told us that the averages of a sequence of identically distributed random variable 1 by n summation of xi going from 1 to n, that average is getting closer to an expected value ex1. But what is the rate of that convergence? So central limit theorem is a result that partly answers this question, this question, and it also gives you an important approximating distribution for a scaled means. That is, mean is 1 by n summation of xi. Scaled means you multiply it by a suitable constant, and then find out its probability distribution. From both these contexts, approximating the distribution of a sample mean, a scale sample mean, and to find to answer that at what rate the mean converges to expected value. From both this point of view, central limit theorem is of paramount importance. And thirdly, it is one of the results for which normal distribution normal enjoys its paramount and universal importance in probability and statistics, that it turns out to be the limiting distribution of averages for a irrespective of what underlying distribution is, with some mild conditions that I am going to mention. So you may not have understood the statement just I made, but at least I hope by the end of this presentation it will be clear. So suppose I have got IID random variables x1, x2, xn, with some common distribution f, and it has finite variance. So here I am making a crucial assumption that the variance is finite. So ex1 square is a finite number. You know that x variance is a non-negative valued quantity, and it may not be finite, because you see ex1 square need not be always a finite number. So I am assuming that the random variables have finite variance. Without this finite variance assumption, you will not have a central limit theorem. I'll give you an example of that maybe in the next presentation. So for the moment, we assume that I am having all IID random variables with each with finite variance. Ex1 square is finite. Next, then the central limit theorem would tell us that if you take the if you let us denote the common variance by sigma square, and the common so the common standard deviation is sigma. Sigma is unknown, we don't need to know it. So then what will happen is that if you and suppose the mean is mu, mu can be 0 or it may not be 0. Now if I look at xi minus mu by sigma, then it is a standardized random variable, each with mean 0 and variance 1. So now if I look at the mean 1 by n summation of xi minus mu by sigma, the standardized random variable, and multiply them by root n, so so what will I get? Root n times 1 by root n into summation 1 by root n into summation of xi minus mu divided by sigma. So this quantity, this quantity, this is not an average, this quantity, let us say, what happens to this as n increased? Now this does not converge to a constant like in the law of large number, but it converges in distribution. Now this is a technical term that you don't know, but I will tell you what does that mean. But let me just finish the statement. So 1 by root over n into summation of xi minus mu by sigma converges in distribution to standard normal distribution. So this is the classical central limit theorem. So I said converges in distribution. What does that mean? That means that 1 by root over n summation of xi minus mu by sigma, I going from 1 to n, this is again a random variable. It has a probability distribution. Now what is that probability distribution? That will depend upon the distributions of x1, x2 and xn, and you can easily see that this is a distribution may not be always very easy to find. So for example, if xi's are Bernoulli, okay, then you know that the summation of xi's are binomial. But then what would be the distribution of 1 by root n times summation of xi minus n mu by sigma? That is something you will have to work out. But if you xi's are suppose taking the values minus 1 and plus 1 with probability half, then again it will be something else. So as you change the distribution of the quantity 1 by root n times summation of xi minus mu divided by sigma, that will also change. But what is this central limit theorem telling us? That for large n and this finite variance assumption exn square is finite, then you really don't have to worry what the distributions of xi's are. Then you can always use the standard normal distribution as a good approximation for the distribution of 1 by root n times summation of xi minus mu by sigma. So this result tells you that normal distribution is an approximating distribution of suitably scaled, centered and scaled sample mean. And secondly, it also tells you, see what you have proven here, what you have stated here, that actually 1 by root n is 1 by root n times summation of xi minus mu. So you could look at it as root n into root n into 1 by n summation of xi minus mu by sigma. So that would be root n into x bar minus mu divided by sigma. So that is the standardized sample mean, x bar minus mu by sigma multiplied by root n. So that does not explode, rather that converges. So it tells you that the rate at which x bar converges to mu, because x bar converges to mu, the common mean, so x bar minus mu converges to 0. But if you multiply it by root n, then it does not explode. It still converges, but in some other sense to another converges in law to standard normal distribution. So it tells you that if you multiply x bar minus mu by root n, then this does not converge to 0 anymore for sure. But it also does not diverge. So what we know here, that x bar minus mu converges to 0 and at the rate 1 by root over n. So this tells you the rate of convergence of x bar, that is the average, to the unknown mean mu, of course under the assumption that the variance is finite, then that rate is root n. So this is the central limit theorem that is one of the core stones of probability and statistics. You can find more about central limit theorem in any probability statistics books or in Wikipedia. For example, you can look up in that book that I have referred, all of statistics. And so there is a chapter devoted to approximating theorems. So you can just look up there in the central limit theorem. So the two things are important. Remember that the random variables have to be identically distributed, and secondly, and most importantly, the variance has to be finite. Ex1 square has to be finite. Then root n times x bar minus mu divided by sigma converges in law or converges in distribution to the standard normal distribution. Okay, so this is the first version of the central limit theorem. Of course, you can replace that sigma is then unknown. You can replace that sigma by the s that we have described in the student's t distribution, student's t test statistic, and that is s square is 1 by n minus 1 summation of xi minus x bar whole square. That is the bias adjusted sample variance. So you can replace the unknown sigma by that s. So you could write root n into x bar minus mu by s. That will also converge in law to standard normal distribution. So this is another version of the central limit theorem. So this is the importance of standard normal distribution, that it serves as the approximating distribution of suitably centered and scaled. Why centered? Because x bar minus mu, you are centering around the mean, and y scale because you are multiplying by root n. It serves as the limiting distribution of suitably centered and scaled sample mean under the assumption of finite variance. Thank you.